Welcome to the Secrets of Being podcast. I'm Dr. Dawn Airhart Witte, your guide on a transformative journey of personal development and discussions of universal truths. Join me and a panel of life coaches and spiritual leaders from around the world discussing how to handle some of life's greatest challenges. We will be sharing stories of love, faith, and inspiration with you, our faithful listeners, to live your happiest and most fulfilling life, full of purpose and passion for yourself, your families, and the world. We are here to be the change we wish to see. Let the conversation begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Secrets of Being podcast. We're so excited to have you join us today. Our topic is going to be trusting the process. And when I learned how to trust the process and be in the flow of life, not fight things and just surrender, my life got so much easier. So we're going to be talking about that today. But as always, I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves. So Maureen, you want to introduce yourself first?
Yes. Hello, everyone, listeners and my fellow friends on the podcast. I am Maureen Scanlon. I am a master life coach. I am a podcaster as well, and a author, and what else do I have going on? And an entrepreneur. So many irons in the fire. I specialize in teaching you to find your worth again and to learn to be your own best friend. And everything that I do is based on observing our pets and our dogs, especially because they are so unconditionally loving and they live in the moment. And we are all about mindfulness and really learning to love yourself before you can do anything else in this life to create relationships. I'm a dating and relationship expert as well. So I'm so happy to have everyone here today. Thank you.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you. So, hello, my name is Valerie C. Thompson. I am an encourager. I am here to encourage, inspire, and uplift. I am many things, as Maureen was saying. I am an author. I am a podcast host, which I need to get back to doing. I am a life coach, currently a spiritual life coach. I specialize in helping women to dismantle the lies so they can own their truth and rise. I feel like unresolved trauma turns into adult drama. The more I go on this journey, though, I'm releasing titles because I believe as we travel on this journey, we become many things. So I'm grateful to be here and grateful to have this discussion amongst you all. Thank you, Dawn, for inviting me, and I look forward to sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's me?
Oh, Serggio's going to go next.
It's okay. Okay, my name is Serggio Garcia Guillen. I train as a physician as well, mind body medicine and contemplative medicine. Currently, I am working more in the area of coaching, especially inner leadership based in the soul and mindfulness. And currently also like working in perhaps like seeing like there's a lot of podcasts. Maybe I should jump into that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Serggio. Okay, Karla.
Okay. Hi, I am Karla Bonkowski Magnan. I have been a licensed clinical social worker since 2000. I used to specialize in high conflict divorce and children's issues, so a lot of court testimony and involvement, special mastering, custody evaluation kind of thing. And then I changed my specialty to become a certified trauma treatment professional, which means that I treat the neurophysiology of trauma. It's I do so with somatic interventions, brain-based interventions, and I also am a singer-songwriter, a dancer, a choreographer, a poet. And though all of those things that I do that are outside the academic realm, I have learned recently, my eyes have been opened that they're really critical in my effectiveness in how I approach the world and people. So it's just such an honor to be on with you guys, the thought leaders for our little generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Karla. I am honored to have these people as my circle of friends. I mean, these are the people I go to for advice and ponder about life's, greatest lessons and why we exist and our place in the world. And I just love having your voices in my head. So again, our topic today is trust the process. And I think we've heard it over and over. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? So one of the things that the secrets of being for me is to find the universal chords of truth that exist throughout all ages, all belief systems, all locations. And so I pulled 7 different philosophies, ancient philosophies, today's philosophies about trusting the process. And this universal chord goes through each of these teachings. So I'm just going to read the first 7, and then we'll start the conversation. So in the Buddhist wisdom, it says, trust in the impermanence of all things and cultivate acceptance. Understand that life is a continuous flow, and by trusting the process, you can find peace in the present moment. In the Taoist philosophy, it's called Wu Wei, and that means non-action. Wu Wei encourages aligning with the natural flow of life. By letting go of resistance and trusting the unfolding of events, you become like water, effortlessly adapting to the course of your journey. I love that one. In the Christian faith, it's divine providence. And in Christianity, there's a belief in divine providence, the idea that God is actively guiding and providing for individuals. Trusting the process involves having faith that there's a higher plan and purpose at play. In the Hindu philosophy, Karma Yoga emphasizes selfless action without attachment to the results. Trusting the process involves doing your best in the present moment without being overly concerned about the outcomes, acknowledging that there's a larger cosmic order. I love that one too. In everyday mindfulness, many spiritual traditions include secular mindfulness practices. They emphasize being present and fully engaged in the moment. Trusting the process involves letting go of worries about the future or past and appreciating the richness of the present experience. And then two more. In Islam, it's tawakkul. I'm probably totally mispronouncing that, but it means a reliance on God. And the teaching is tawakkul. I cannot say this. It's Tawakkul. And it's the Islamic concept of relying on Allah while actively putting in effort. Trusting the process in Islam involves surrendering to God's will and having faith that everything unfolds according to a divine plan. The Quran often emphasizes the idea that God is the best of planners. And the last one in Judaism, it's called bitachon, and that's the Hebrew term for trust, particularly trusting God. In Judaism, trusting the process means placing confidence in God's wisdom and guidance. The concept is rooted in the belief that God cares for his creation and has a purpose for everything that occurs. And those all are saying the same thing, just in different ways, different belief systems, different traditions and philosophies. So I wanted to have this conversation because we feel like we need to control everything in our lives, right? We want to control the outcome. We think we know what the best job is, or the best partner is, or the best, perfect house, or whatever that is. But when we allow it to unfold and let things happen, then, things happen that are even bigger and better and more beautiful than we imagined. And that's all about trusting the process. So Maureen, I'm going to start with you since you really tried to make it here today because of this topic.
Thank you so much. I love it. First of all, my new thing I'm going to start doing is woo-wee, because that was my favorite one of them all. And I love that. That's the flow. So I posted something, and I'm going to paraphrase this yesterday on my mindfulness and positivity seekers page. A teacher asked her students to write a 6-word poem, and she got this from one of the students: a bird still flies through fog. And I think that really is trusting the process, right? Because the process is, we're in a fog. We don't see clearly yet. We don't see the rainbow. We don't see the sunshine, but we're still trusting that we can fly through it. So when I hear trust the process, to me, process equals growth. Trust the growth. We're here in this life for growth, and the entire lifetime is the process. And I think where we fail as humans, and where I feel the roadblocks come in and the resistance comes in, is our human impatience, because that's really what I have learned. And I am probably the most impatient human on the planet. That's where most of my struggle came from, was wanting it and wanting it now. Even more so now in society and social media, like instant gratification. TikTok, I can watch 200 videos in 30 minutes, where back when I was growing up, and I'll date myself, I'm a nifty 50. You had to go to the video store and you had to rent a video and you had to drive home and you had to put it in your VCR and make sure you rewind it. And it cost you money. And it's just really that our mindsets, I think, have changed in society, that we want it and we want it now. I do believe we're not going with the flow. And I think the whole philosophy of mindfulness is to just, wherever I am, I have gratitude for. In my life coaching practice, it's the biggest struggle that my clients have when they say, well, when is it going to happen? When is it going to be better? When is my life going to be better, Maureen? And I say, well, when you do the change, when you make the habit your daily routine that you don't have to think about anymore. That's the process. We start off, all of us here are teachers, and in coaching, we start a client off with, here are some tips that I suggest for you. Here are some steps. We're going to plan some goals for you. And when you start doing those and you meet the goal, you have clients that are like a month, 2 months in, and they're like, yeah, I haven't really worked on that. Well, that's the process, is having to do that inner work and having to take those steps. And I think, and I'll end this here. I think for me was when I made the mindset the process, my life became easier. I created the things that I wanted. I found my joy. I enjoyed every moment of life. It's when I got out of that, that's when struggle came and the resistance came. So for me, process is growth. Thank you.
Oh, that's amazing, Maureen. Valerie, I wanted to ask you this, because when somebody says, but you don't understand what I'm going through, you don't understand, like, this that just happened to me. When something like that happens, what do you tell people? I know that you've been living that.
Right. So I say, well, you're right. I may not understand exactly what you're going through, because I do believe we all, as many things we share that are similar or familiar, we each have our individual path, right? So I may not understand exactly what you're going through, but I do have compassion for you, because we have all been through something. And because of the things that I've been through, again, it may not be what you've been through, but I've been through something, right? I've had to learn and grow through it. Process, right? Taking actions in wherever we find ourselves. And usually it's a place where we don't necessarily like, right? That's the truth. Most of the time we don't like the process, because it means we have to take action. So I may not understand, but one thing I can tell you, if you start where you are, wherever that is, and begin to work inward, I always say, again, because most of the things come from some form of trauma, and so I know when I took the time to go inward and literally, like you said, Maureen, having gratitude about whatever it is, because this is now, having gratitude, thank you for this. I may not really understand it, not on your own understanding, but acknowledge something higher. I may not understand, but I know right here, right now, maybe it's time for me to do some inner healing. Maybe it's time for me to sit and get quiet and get still while I'm in the process of becoming who God already says I am. It's like, and I researched the word process. I mean, it's a word, right? But I always have to start with words. So a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. And it made me think about all of us. All of us are here right now. And I think you said it, Maureen, teachers. We're all here we're all here to teach. We're all here to share, right? Whether we be coaches, podcast hosts, or whatever. But there was a time when we weren't here, right? We were somewhere else, but maybe we had a vision. So the process to get here, there were some real life experiences, whether we went to school, whether we experienced some form of trauma and we took the journey to healing. Here we are today. There was a process. And again, that process, maybe it didn't feel good, but we took action steps to get here. So we have to appreciate everything that we've gone through because it's a learning experience. There are steps that we have to take to get to wherever we're trying to get to, right? We have that vision, but there's a journey. It's a process. And I believe the more we can lean into that and not try to control it, not try to rush it, we can enjoy it and just literally appreciate life. I think about the game of life. I never like to play that game, but guess what? We're all playing it. So it's up to us to play it and enjoy it and literally learn in it. And then I feel like that way we allow the flow.
May I add something to that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Dawn, your question, what do you do when a client comes to you and says you don't know what I'm going through? Well, I would ask, first of all, I would ask, does that really happen? Because I would expect a little more openness, but that energy of you don't know what I'm going through is, okay, now I'm going off into a tangent. You'll notice my eyes close when I do this. You don't know what I'm going through is an adherence to these default negative beliefs and feeling put upon, like in Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know if any of you have kids and had to watch Thomas. Percy was always put upon. So instead of feeling put upon, I would posit to my client, first of all, I would ask them, okay, then please, if I don't understand it to your liking, in a way that you trust that I can go forward, please explain it to me. Explain all of it to me. I'm curious and I want to know. And then after that, I would posit to you guys that the neurophysiology of trauma is extraordinarily difficult to overcome with team building or brainstorming or anything like that. It is a network, a cascade, and Serggio, Dr. Serggio, you know about this. It's a cascade of chemicals in the sympathetic nervous system that ends up hardwiring neurons together to support the survival behavior, which may not be, and oftentimes is not, useful in present time. But the brain operates only in present time. So if you are thinking to yourself, nobody understands me, and I'm alone in this, the brain will support that, because whatever you're doing is letting you survive, keeping yourself away from men for women, for example, or keeping yourself away from family, whatever it is, you inherently protect yourself with your brilliant mind, your brilliant body, and your brilliant all-knowing soul connected to the universe. If we do not correct those hardwired connections, it will be very difficult for a person to get out and beyond the veil of Om, of the sound of yoga, beyond the veil. So I would suggest that people who really have a significant amount of trauma, that we assess them for fitness for life coaching. As far as I know, the two ways to get yourself out of the cascade of the neurophysiology of trauma are through profound spiritual awakening and through deep work honoring who we've been and where we've come from. And I hope at the retreat that we can I'm so excited. I hope that we can provide both of those so that the people who are ready to start where the life coaching is can just take off and fly like Dawn helps them to do. But the people that are not ready will then find enough knowledge and wisdom in our teachings as neuroscientists, Serggio, you and me, and Shashiksa, that we can get them on their way.
I love that, Karla. I love that. Because even though sometimes we mentally might know something, it hasn't hit that subconscious yet. And the subconscious is still holding on to the old thought patterns and things like that.
Well,
and yeah. And so healing those is part of the journey too. But I love that Valerie used the word journey, because in one of the teachings I looked up, it said, trust the process or trust the journey. And I love the journey part better. Like, it's part of the process, but we have to understand life is a journey. From the time we're born, we're having like these human experiences, and all of them, the good, the bad, the painful, the traumatic, those are all there for us to teach us some kind of lesson, to share our wisdom through those things that we've learned and experienced. So Serggio, Karla brought you into it with the biochemistry of our brains and things like that. I would love to hear what you have to say about trusting the process, and then, moving forward in a direction where it's like, what is life teaching me versus why is this happening to me?
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing this conversation. Yes, and I agree. I think I see it more like a journey, or journeys in plural, because there are many other things happening at the same time as we are trying to achieve or get into another place. And I think also, like, the processes are happening at the same time too. Like, there is inner processes, like how you are like digesting your emotions, your neurochemistry, what are you eating, like many things are happening at the same time as you are going through that journey. At the same time, you are trying to achieve something. And so, to me, when this topic makes me a little bit thinking about, when you are in a road trip, and how much you are equipped before to start that journey, even though it's not like such that you are moving all the time. We are in a planet like spinning in a high speed around the sun, and the sun is in the galaxy. So we are in movement all the time. So, anyways, but when you are in a journey, and how good you are equipped to go through that process, that journey, and that means, like, how's your physiology, your physical body, your team, your family. I mean, who is supporting you in that journey? So it's going to, the outcome is going to be very different if you are in a bike, or if you are in a bullet train, or and up also the how comfortable is going to be that process as well. So as much you have more support, inner support and outer support in the journey, and you are in company of others. And I am talking about coaches, like if you have some support from your family, support for your physical body, it's going to be easier. Even in a point, like you perhaps you can even enjoy the journey, even as difficult it is. And I remember, like, I was coaching somebody who had difficulties getting pregnant, and at the end she got pregnant. It took some time, and it was a different situation, from trauma to different experience she had. But once she got into that, I remember, like, once she called me and she, I haven't had very, very painful contractions. It wasn't ready to the delivery, but she was feeling very, very bad, and she was smiling. And I heard, like, she was like, "Huh, that's interesting. Why are you smiling?" Because I feel so joyful. It's so painful, but it's so joyful. So in that moment, I felt, wow, this is like when you are through these processes, and yet you are enjoying whatever is coming. It's like, like Maureen was mentioning about the bird. Like, it was a trust, even not saying about trusting. She was there. So, because one of the topics in here also is how you are embodying that, how you are, like, being instead of thinking, or analyzing. And I think it's part of the equipment I mentioned before. As you are tuning into your goal and your purpose, the process is going to be easier. So you can trust, because you trust in yourself without thinking on that.
I
Wow.
love that, Sergio. And I would say, how can we expect really wounded people to trust in the process when they don't have trust in the world? So how do we provide them with that? And that is where curiosity and compassion come in our work with our clients, that we're curious about their lives, not judgmental, and then we're compassionate about what they've been through, and we give them a holding environment, like Allstate. We give them a holding environment where we hold their sorrow and we hold their history while safely allowing them to explore what has been and what is to come. Because if you cannot trust, you can't trust the process. But once we can transition them by resourcing the of them, and that's one thing that we social workers are good at, providing resources, resourcing them, referring them to the support communities that Sergio was talking about, getting them to their tribe, like we have found in ourselves, that will really make a crucial difference and go on to create people who trust that the universe will give to them what they believe, and that they can believe something other than what they were taught.
Absolutely.
Can I add something? I love that. I have two things to add for you, Karla, as well. You're right. When there is that deep trauma, it's hard for people to trust. And I have a client in her 50s and self-deprecating, even self-harming. And I've asked, what if you didn't do this? What if you weren't this person that felt this way about yourself? And the answer is, well, I don't even know. So it became this identity. This is their identity, and they can't let go of that, even though we know it's not good for them, letting go of that identity. And back to what Valerie was saying, when we say, I don't know what you're going through, I've experienced something similar, I can understand, that's a difficult experience. What I have found is to say, I don't know what you're experiencing, but I do know it's not what you want. I do know that you want something better. I do know that you want to feel happiness and joy, because that's every human on this planet. That's what they want. And it gives them that more of that, the road ahead seems better than the road behind. The rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield for a reason. And I got to thinking, because I just watched my little 4-month-old grandbaby last night. We are in phases. Our entire life, we are in phases. So, at this phase, she is just rolling. And I see her little feet and I'm like, oh, she's going to be crawling. She's going to be scooching. And we're always so encouraging, right? Of every next phase. I put her in this little Johnny jumper thing and she was like tiptoeing. and we're like, if only we fellow humans would do that for one another and of ourselves, to say to ourselves, this is a phase. The only thing guaranteed is there are no guarantees, except things will change always. And so if we look at life and always say, whatever I'm going through, it's a phase. It's a phase. And I've been through many phases from the time I came out of my mother's womb to this point. I can make it through any phase, and it's okay. That acceptance and that love for ourselves is really where that process works best. When we just say, chill out, like quit being so dang hard on yourself. Stop the self-hate, stop the self-loathing, stop listening to the tapes of your childhood or your bad relationships. Quit listening to those tapes. And then the process gets so much easier and so much better, because when you replace or re-record to my favorite saying that I tell everyone, nothing meant for me will ever miss me. And man, that feels so much lighter than I'm never going to get what I want. I need to get this goal. I have to do this. Nothing meant for me will ever miss me, whether it's today, tomorrow, 5 years, 10 years from now. nothing meant for me will ever miss me.
Good.
Yeah, Maureen, I think you and I both had that same journey about like patience, learning patience, because that was one of the lessons that I really had to learn is put it out there, take the action steps, but then allow the process to unfold. When I first and you know, one of the reasons I started this podcast was to share our aha moments when we learned how we learned what we know now that has made our life more peaceful and more happy, right? And I wrote down that I was going to write 3 books. And to date, okay, that was years ago, 7 years ago. I've now written 10 books and I'm almost finished with 2. So I'm up to like 12 books. In my human limited mind, I thought 3 books, but you know, the universe had bigger plans. And, you know, so like we can think we want something, but then allow it to continue to unfold the way it's supposed to unfold, and it could be way better than we even could have our physical mind comprehend for us.
That's
Valerie,
it.
yeah.
Such rich conversation. I've been taking notes because I love to journal. Now let me say this. The word allow alone is huge. Like just to say allow, that is vibration on like a high vibration. Allowing. What I've heard as you were speaking, Karla and Maureen. So first of all, trust. That's huge. When you come from trauma, and I know there are different levels of trauma, you don't know how to trust. And I'm only speaking from my experience. I had to learn how to trust Valerie and trust what I heard on the inside, because I feel like whatever we hear, if it's not something said that's going to harm us or harm someone else, we need to lean into that and experience that, whatever it is. That's trusting. I'm also a social worker, which I didn't say. Now, let me say this, but I'm sharing this part. I am the social worker that I am. I'm extra help social worker for a reason. So my job when I'm not working on purpose, the other part of my life, is to be with families while they become, what's the social work word? We want the families to be reunited. So I do visits on purpose. That's it. I don't want to do the other stuff, meaning I supervise visits, and I'm sharing something.
Okay.
The women that I supervise the visits with, they usually come from domestic violence. I come from domestic violence, absorbed and observed as a child and as an adult. So I have the opportunity to work with women, and I tell them it's a temporary experience. I give them a journal. You can write the vision, make it plain. You're learning something here. It's part of the process. So I had a parent tell me, I don't like the word process, and that's fine. It's an experience. Learn what you have to learn so you can move from here to there. How do I know? Because I did it. I was never in foster care. My children were never in foster care. So I received compassion from my experience to work with people today to show them it's the process, but there's something greater later. So maybe for this lady, for instance, she wants to change the system because she says it's broken. So guess what? You're in the system, but you're going to come out, and maybe you can do something later. Maybe this is your purpose, right? So we have to have those experiences. If not for the experiences that I went through, I wouldn't have the passion or compassion to do what I'm doing today. Like Don, I never thought I'd write any books. I never thought I'd be speaking next year, but God gave me a vision. God connected me to Don last year. And I immediately knew we were part of the same tribe. But if not for my experiences, I probably wouldn't have met her. So I'm grateful. Everything is temporary. We all have the ability to change it. I always say we're here to move in purpose, on purpose, for God's huge purpose. Now, you don't have to say God, whatever you want to say, but there's always something greater. And it's an experience, and we never have to stay where we are. So I'm grateful for even this experience today and all the people that would get something rich from it. Change is inevitable. That's what life is about. Everything, it's about growth. It's about rebirth. It's about death. It's about life. And we all have the opportunity to create the life that we desire. That's why we're here.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so powerful. Sergio, would you like to chime in?
Yes, yes. I just answered a little bit the question, like Carla mentioned. How to work with somebody who is in big trauma. And years ago, I remember like somebody saying, you educate your kids 20 years before they were born, and that made me think a lot about many things from then. And even in like working with people with cancer, you see also many of the things happen like practically 15, 20 years before. So in this case, for how I apply that is like, as everybody you are mentioning, your own experiences are molding you, are teaching you, are like growing yourself so you can help somebody else. So there is a phrase, like I think it's in medicine, if you treat without diagnosis, it's liable. And I think that applies for coaches and everybody else, even to giving advice to somebody. Of course, we are talking about generalizations here, but once you are in front of a person, we train to be compassionate, to be curious about what is going on with the other person. So as you tap into the experience of the other, obviously 100% of the understanding is not possible, but you have a clue as you tap into the experience of the other person. You may understand more things about yourself and the other. But sometimes we need training for that, to remember how to do that. Some people is born with that. I agree. Others like myself, I had to train that. One of the reasons I jumped from medicine, and I was very interested in getting to oncology, I switched because I didn't see happening the compassion part with patients in the hospitals I worked in. And to me, it's key to be curious and interested to other person experiences so we can help. And also we train to the second part, train how to do it. And when we are studying something, I understand, like, even the manifestation meditation and all those kind of things, like when you see the future and you set it yourself, which is great. Start with the beginning. I love that too. And yet there is a moment when you have to see the how to you are making that beautiful, how you can be creative to make the process nicer, beautiful, or enjoyable. And then you may require somebody else, somebody who is trained already, somebody who had experiences like that. We all do that. And I know also we are in a time when we worship sometimes youth, and there is amazing. There are young people, talented, skillful, yet we are not recognizing how much we are contributing, like people who were more than 50 or 20 or 80 years old, like how much we are part of that. We are splitting, somehow saying, it's the new generation. No, we are the generation. We are single big generations going on through time and processes. And I think as you tap into this, the gratitude of how much you got from the past and the present and the future, you also can give more and receive and give. And it's like a dance, which I would say that's one of the problems, at least for me, to see the process as something like you are just dancing and playing. And so the things are less difficult. And somebody who is with trauma, to tap into this person potential, because if you don't believe in that person, they're going to pick it up. They're going to notice like you are not seeing them with the potential they have. So sometimes you learn from you, and then you expand and be curious and accept and see the real tangible potential of them, so you can bring them up and help them.
I love.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll let you add. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add that for people who have a hard time with trusting the process, which is exactly surrender to what we can and cannot control. And one of the big things that we can control is our development of integrity and cultivation of that in our relationships and stuff like that. But I would tell people that along the way, trust the process doesn't need to be this huge, scary jumping off a cliff and trusting you're going to land softly. You feel better. Wouldn't you agree, the other professionals on the panel? clients and my patients feel better every step of the way as we hold their energy and hold their hand walking forward into their process, journeying with them together with our support to keep them from wobbling, from being wobbly. So every step makes you feel better and propels you along the way.
I love that you said that. And Karla, what I was just going to say, which is like exactly what you just said, is like, and Serggio said it earlier, is finding your tribe of people that will hold you in a safe space and will be there for you when you are having those moments, because everybody's going to have loss in their life. You know, we're going to lose somebody that we love, an animal we love, a parent, a child, a friend. You know, that's going to happen. That is part of the human journey. And when things like that happen, or we get our heart broken, you know, or whatever like happens in our lives, having the support of people that love you and are there for you and say, hey, I care, you know, cry with me, you know, that helps us trust the process, because, you know, we're giving people safe space. So that is another way to help us trust the process. Well, I mean, this conversation was so powerful. You all bring so much to the table, and your wisdom and your life experiences and the way you've processed your life experiences has been a beautiful thing to witness. And I love, again, having you in my circle of influence, my circle of friendship, because that helps get me through, you know, when I forget to believe in myself, or I need to borrow a little bit of faith from some of you. So I want to let everybody know at thesecretsofbeing.com, you can connect with every one of these speakers, their social media handles, websites, if they have them. They will be on the secretsofbeing.com speaker roster. And then I would like everybody to end with a final closing comment about trusting the process and let people know where they can find you. Maureen?
I'll start. So my closing, it has to be dog related, of course, because everything I do is dog related. My acronym is BARK. So just remember BARK. Be authentic, realistic, and knowing. So you're a human being, not a human doing. You don't always have to be in action. You can just sit, meditate, relax, enjoy being in this life. Authentic, be you, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So be you. Don't dull your shine for anyone. And realistic, just stay grounded in where you are, who you are, what you're doing. Don't go into fantasy land, and don't beat yourself up for the past. You stay mindful in the moment. And K is knowing. Follow that intuition. You're continuously told what you need. You have clarity, you have answers, you have a tether to God, to source, to universe. You have everything that you need. Trust the process, trust yourself, and let go of outside validations. So again, I'm Maureen Scanlon. You can find me, my books. I just published a children's book because I want children to start ages 0 to 6 mindfully, so that none of us will be coaching the future generations. It'll put us out of business. Good. Put us out of business, because we want children to grow into these healthy, mindful adults. So you can find everything on myself at www.lifecoachmaureen, that's MAUREEN.com. Thank you. And thank you, my fellow beautiful, beautiful panelists. I love all of you. You guys are just amazing. This synchronicity and sharing the hearts and souls and thoughts and spirits and minds. Honored to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Valerie.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Maureen and Serggio and Karla. My name again, Valerie C. Thompson. I was created to encourage, inspire, and uplift. We are all created to move in purpose, on purpose, for God's huge purpose. Unresolved trauma turns into adult drama. That's why it's imperative that we dismantle the lies from others, own our truth, and rise, whatever that is. My truth is not your truth. Your truth is not my truth. You have to find out. So I always say, get still, get quiet, and listen, journal, visualize, and don't be afraid to take a leap of faith and step into curiosity, step into truly understanding who you are and why you're here. We are all here for purpose. It's not by happenstance that we are here collectively. You can find me on Instagram at Own Your Truth and Rise. You can find me on Facebook at Valerie C. Thompson. And I too just came out with the book, The Woman and the Gifts. Now, because we all have gifts and talents to share with the world, and I'm a firm believer in doing the healing work. The womb is the birthing center for something physical or someone physical, but also spiritual. So whatever that thought is, it's coming to you for a reason. Give birth. That's why we're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Valerie. You're amazing. And thank you for also allowing me to be part of that book.
Thank you.
An honor. Karla.
Yes. In words of closing, I want to stress something Serggio said in the very beginning, how everything contributes to how we are now, for better or for worse. And keeping that in mind as healers will go a long way toward helping heal our patients and lead them on their journey, or not lead them, suggest different ways that we get from them and support them along their journey. We need to, at the retreat, we need to talk about nutrition, and I'm certified in nutrition for mental health. We need to talk about social environment. Valerie was talking about the intergenerational transmission of trauma in her own family of origin, witnessing the trauma that obviously was informed by a previous generation. And then she carried it into her own life, not intentionally, of course. We need to be so comprehensive that life will look like the most magnificent unfolding lava lamp, that everything that we see, we will, Valerie, we will cultivate and nurture in our collective womb and the individual womb, and we will birth it into a world that will accept it and love it and honor it. And I would like to share my personal mantra, if that's okay, because I think it's useful. I center myself and I connect to those that I connect with. And then the words are this. You can do any version of it. I set my intention to attract and retain that which serves me, and reject and discard that which does not. And see how that works in your lives. See how that works in your clients' lives. Give me credit and maybe a quarter every time you use it. But I've noticed people falling away from me and people coming to me. It's a very powerful mantra that I made up out of my that it's just pragmatic. So I share that with you guys. I need my quarter royalty. You can find me at Karla and Lulu on Instagram, Karla Bonkowski Magnan on Facebook, Karla Sue and the Very Blue band page on Facebook, and I am Karla Bonkowski Magnan on LinkedIn. I am an inductee, biographical listee for Who's Who in America and Globally by Marquis, and that is as of 2023. I'm an artist in every way and a healer and a beautiful beam of light, as are we. Thank you, guys.
Yes, you are, Karla. That is for sure.
I'm handing it off.
Serggio.
Thank you. For closing this, my whole life I have been interested with healing art and all of them. I think since the beginning, just seeing animals first and paying attention to people, paying attention to plants and the planets, the movement, I truly believe the potential to grow, to heal, whatever is that. Even can be financial, can be divorce, can be whatever it is. We all have the potential to make the things better and make enjoyable the journey, whatever we are in. And there is I was inspired by Karla sharing her mantra, and there is something I love a lot. Is like whoever you meet, whatever you meet, that is the path. And to me, it brings a lot of peace in my heart, because in that way I get curious, like who I am in this path, who I am encountering, and why I'm encountering this person. So there is a sense of safety, but in that safety, from that safety arises the curiosity. And with the curiosity, it's just it's an explosion of potentialities just going on all over. So you can see and you can be creative to, oh, it's a rock in front of me. No, it's not just a rock. A rock, like I can just jump up above, aside, can go through, can embrace and just like hug. There is a lot of ways you can approach whatever is in front of you. And from that, I will just encourage people and invite them to contemplate the possibility, like whatever you're going through, there is other ways. You may require somebody to help you. You may find your own courage in yourself, but there is just observing yourself and caring about yourself. That's important. And yeah, how find me? You can in this page probably for now. Thank you so much.
Well, how are your information?
I was going to say, or any of us, we will bring them to you. So whatever.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Secrets of Being podcast. In closing, I just want to say, you know what? We all have the power to make the world a better place. We can be the change we wish to see in every interaction with every soul that we encounter, whether it's a bug, a butterfly, a bird, a dog, another human. So, be your best self and the world can get better through that.
Thank you for tuning in to the Secrets of Being podcast. We appreciate your time and support. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with more inspiring content. For further inspiration, visit thesecretsofbeing.com and join our community. Until next time, stay inspired and keep unlocking the secrets of being.